You know, Richard, he seems like a nice boy. He seems to...
Well, it has been a bit of a marathon because I wanted to find out where Larry Grayson lived, and it's very close to the cemetery, and I've been asking the local people, and it's on Inkley Road, Nuneaton, but the thing is, it's such an enormous road, but I found it. This is the house. It's quite a nice looking house, by the way, that Larry Grayson lived in. I'm going to stand back so you can see it now. There we go. It's a bungalow. They told me it was a bungalow. I think he did have a bungalow once in town centre, but this is the house. Very nice, isn't it, with the balcony upstairs. It's got the electric gates and the intercom, so that's a sign of somebody posh, isn't it? Nice house, isn't it? In actual fact, if it were me, I wouldn't have had it near this road. Don't mind how good the house is, I don't like the road, to be honest. But it obviously didn't bother him. That's the college there. So there we go. One more look. If there's anybody in there now, they're thinking, what is he doing? Why is he filming my house? They might know, actually, you know. So I've only got one thing to say about this house. Shut that door! It is shut, look. It's guarded entrance. Okay. We're off now to the cemetery to find his gravestone. See you there in a minute. It's only down here, it's not far. I've passed it already. See you in a minute down there. I've just got to add on to that it's not categorical that he lived in this bungalow or bungalow style, because you know, I've only been told that by the local people. I've buzzed the intercom. It goes to a phone, but nobody answers it. So it's very, very likely, because, you know, the people were local that said it. So, but it's not 100% that one. But the grave will be. I'll see you there in a minute. Hello, my name is Alan, and welcome to Motorhome Beep Beep. And today I've come to Nuneaton Cemetery. And if I say this, most people of a certain age are definitely going to know this guy. Shut that door. Yes, of course, Larry Grayson. That was his. He had a few catchphrases actually, but I always forget to put my step out. There we go. He had a few catchphrases, but that by far was the one that most people remember. But he did quite a few. It was a thing about Larry was that, I mean, I remember watching him on the Generation game, but what made him special was he was the first sort of camp comic that made it all very popular to be camp. And it wasn't just that, he had a warmth, he had a warm voice, he had a warm texture to his personality, if you know what I mean. You felt nothing bad about him. I mean, he was a tiny little bit risky, some of the characters that he had, you know, there were Apricot Lil, but the other one was Slack Alice and Everard. They make a good team together, don't they? Anyway, but that's the best way of saying it. He had this warmth of character, and he was nice. You always felt sort of kind of safe with him somehow. And when you look into his life history, he was brought up with step parents. I'm going to give you a little bio obviously now, but you know, he was a lovely chap. That's the best way of putting it, quite simply. A lovely man. And his grave was difficult to find. I mean, this lovely guy this morning, I didn't get his name. He had a flat cap on, and he's literally spent 40 minutes walking around this cemetery with me. He doesn't watch YouTube, so he won't see this. And he tried his best because he was a local guy, a lovely guy, you know, really, really nice. We walked around looking for references and stuff, and eventually I found one of the workers that's still here now, actually, and he showed me the location. But and then I was driving out. I said, I'll give you a lift back home. I'm taking him out of the cemetery towards I think it was Nuneaton Road. But anyway, I'm going to put that on screen. Find the bungalow that Larry lived in. And he came dashing back down the street, you know. I could see a very skinny guy with a flat cap, and a bit like handicap in a way. And he was dashing down the road and waving at me. And he'd found a woman on the street who was local, and she told him where Larry's bungalow was. So that's how I got the first shots of where he lived. Well, almost certainly did live anyway. So here we go. It was very funny. The Generation Game is what a lot of people remember him for. But he, as I say, it was a very, camp to the extreme, if you know what I mean. And he used to do this bit, didn't he? He'd be talking to whoever it was, and they'd say something he didn't like, and then he'd go, and look at the crowd. That common lot. If the crowd laughed at the wrong moment, he'd go, "What a common crowd," in that very camp way. The limp wrist bit, His whole persona was camp, wasn't it? But so what? That's what he was. But he was a nice guy. That was what really counts. And he was funny. And he was a good compere, He was great on the Generation Game. Right. I know where it is, and I've seen it, but I kind of lost my bearings a tiny little bit, but I know we're here. You see that van in the background there? That's the chap that got me to it. So he's the one that is responsible for the film. Here he comes, look. My saviour in a green van. There we are. He's coming down now. I'm going to thank him. Here he goes. He's heading down now. Oh, he didn't even look. He didn't even look. I was gonna see if he wanted to be on the film. I asked the other chap that. I said, "Do you want to be on the film?" But he didn't watch. He were very, very old-fashioned sort of guy. That's the best way of putting it. He didn't use the internet. There we go. So here we are. Over to the mini bio. Larry was born William Sully White in Banbury, Oxfordshire, in 1923. His parents were unmarried and he never met his father. When Larry was 10 years old, his mother, Ethel White, arranged for him to be fostered by Alice and Jim Hammond in Nuneaton, Warwickshire. He had two foster sisters, Flo and May. His foster mother, Alice, died when he was 6 years old, and he was brought up by his elder foster sister, Flo, with whom he lived for much of his life. It has been reported that his birth mother stayed in touch with the family and was known to Larry Grayson as Auntie Ethel until he discovered his true identity when he was 8 years old. Larry was never formally adopted. Larry left school at 14 and began working professionally as a sport drag act on the comedy club circuit. He initially used the stage name Billy Breen, but changed it to Larry Grayson in the mid-1950s on the advice of his agent. The BBC TV's The One Show reported on the 27th of November 2012 that the name Grayson was taken from the American singer Kathryn Grayson, while the origin of the name Larry is unknown. His management at the time felt that the two-syllable first name would be more memorable and go better with the name Grayson. Over the next 30 years he toured male revues and drag shows, as well as in variety shows and venues including working men's clubs, regional theatres and the Metropole in London. He also added stand-up comedy to his act, a unique and very gentle anecdotal style of comedy. It was usually based around his imaginary friends such as Everard, Apricot Lil, Slack Alice, Milkman Sterilised Stan and window cleaner Peekaboo Pete with his dirty chamois, and the postman Pop-It-In Pete. In the early years, Larry's family had the only telephone in the street, and his inspiration came from overhearing his neighbour using it. The imaginary friends were fact-based and local characters. For example, Apricot Lil worked in the local jam factory. It was while performing his Billy Breen at the New Pavilion Theatre Redcar, now the Regent Cinema, that he started using his familiar catchphrase, "Shut that door," when the side door had been left open, causing cold breeze to blow in across the stage from the sea. An early TV appearance in the 1950s had led to complaints about his act being too outrageous, and Larry had resigned himself to a career off television. Then in the early 1970s his club act was seen by Michael Grade, the agent, who quickly signed him. Following several successful appearances on ATV variety shows, Lou Grade gave Larry a contract to front Shut That Door in 1972 and slightly later The Larry Grayson Show. Larry's popularity peaked when he was hired by the BBC to present the Saturday night show The Generation Game in 1978, and he replaced Bruce Forsyth. The show became hugely successful, once attracting an audience of 25 million due to strikes at ITV. Larry was assisted by Isla St Clair, who he frequently referred to as my lovely Isla. Larry's final appearance was on the 3rd of December 1994 at the Royal Variety Performance. During his performance he referred to his hiatus from television by commenting to the audience, "They thought I was dead." There we are. For me that was 1 second, that mini bio, but for you it was whatever. Here we go. And I can see it now. So we're going to head in to Larry Grayson's grave. Here we are. By gum, did you take some finding, Larry? You really did. We're moving in now. I was looking at the background shots to try and work out where it was. Here we go. So, it's quite a modest little stone, isn't it, really? Let me straddle that so I can get in a bit closer. So here we are, we're going to read it out. In loving memory of Alice Hammond, 1861 to 1930. Now these are his foster parents that brought him up, and Jim Hammond, 1880 to 1968. Ethel R. White, that's his birth mother, 1894 to 1963, and Mary E. Roberts, don't know really who that is, 1907 to 1975. If anyone knows, let me know. And here's the chap himself, William S. White, Larry Grayson, 1923 to 1995. Florence Catleaf Hammond, 1909 to 1996. Not sure who that is either, but what I'm going to do is, I do know, I'll put it on the screen. You know, I've got to start getting some flowers, because look at that. It always makes me a little bit sad, really. Oh God, just knocked something over. See, they were real, weren't they? Yeah, they were. I'm sorry, Larry. I really apologise about that. By the way, you made me laugh. You really did, and I liked you. I could tell you were a nice chap. A lovely warmth to you. Nothing around there? No. There we go. Shut that door. You know, I get a shiver when I do that sometimes, because you know, you watch the films, they're so full of vitality out there. I've just watched him talking to Terry Wogan, and by the way, Shut That Door came from the fact that he worked at the cinema, which will be in the mini bio, and the sea breeze come in and he used to shut that door. But he was classic. He used to talk all about his ailments and his pains and all that sort of stuff. He was very, very amusing. Thank you, Larry. Thanks for all the laughs, mate. Thank you. And I'm very proud to be able to do my video today for you. So, folks out there, don't forget to subscribe and ding the bell for future videos so you'll see anything new coming up. It's free, you won't miss it. And a thumbs up and a comment would be great. I'll always get back to you on those. So, have a lovely day wherever you are. And get the mental attitude that I squeeze everything I can out of every day, because it makes all the difference. Take care, everyone. See you. Bye from me, Alan.